Welcome to Lovin' Life's Journey DIY. I'm Chantal. Thank you so much for being here. Today I will be doing several DIYs, but I'm also going to be doing something that I don't typically do on this channel, and that is an unboxing and product review. So when this company reached out to me, I actually had been researching and looking at these products, and so it was something I was already interested in and wondering about. And so I decided, why not? Let's give it a try. So today I am going to be unboxing and reviewing the Yeedi Robot Vacuum Station. And so while we DIY, we're going to let Yeedi clean my floors. So let's jump in and get started.
I was very impressed with how well everything was packaged. It was very compact, but it was easy to open and to get everything out of the packaging. I also noticed while I was unpacking this that all of the pieces feel very high quality and very well made. So as you can see, there are not a lot of pieces to this, so that makes it very easy to assemble. It comes with a screwdriver and 3 little screws, and that is all that is needed to assemble this. The setup is very easy. I'm just going to power on the vacuum, and then the quick start guide is going to walk me through all of the steps to get this set up.
Please scan the QR code on the robot to download the app and get started.
So I just scanned the QR code on the vacuum and it took me to the App Store where I downloaded the app, and then once that was installed it walked me through all of the setup steps, which was very easy. So I let the vacuum charge completely, and then I started a vacuum cycle from the app on my phone. So I'm going to let it go through this cycle, and the first time that it runs, it's going to create a map of my house, and I'll show you that when it's done with this cleaning cycle.
I have Yeedi running. It is pretty quiet. There it is. And now my floors can get cleaned while I go do some crafting.
So for this project, we're going to be using this house-shaped chalkboard sign that I picked up at Target Dollar Spot for $3. But if you can't find this, there are some other options at Dollar Tree, such as this little house-shaped sign. And they also have this chalkboard and whiteboard sign in a house shape as well. I'm going to be adding some greenery to my sign as well as some ribbon. This is some that I picked up at Dollar Tree. And then I'm also going to be adding one of these little butterfly cutouts from Dollar Tree as well. I also just typed up this saying in my word processor and printed it on my printer at home, so I'll be using that as a pattern. And I'll be using a paint marker. You could also use a chalk marker. So I'm going to be showing you how easy it is to put a design on a project if you don't have a cutting machine. So I'm cutting out my design, and then I am going to position it on my sign where I want it to make sure it's the right size before I go too much farther. Then I'm going to take a piece of chalk and just rub it on the back side of my paper where the design is, and just make sure that that's covered well. Then I'm going to position that on my sign, and if you want you can tape it down with a little bit of Scotch tape, but I just kind of held it in place and that worked fine. And then I'm going to trace over my letters using a pencil. This is going to transfer my design onto my project so that all I have to do is trace over it using my paint marker. And this is great because you don't have to have a cutting machine to put vinyl on your project, and you don't have to have great penmanship. You just need to be able to trace. So once I'm done tracing, you can see my design is on the sign. It's not real dark, but that's good. It's dark enough that I can see it. So then I'm going to take my paint marker, and I would recommend having a thinner tip. The tip on mine was a little bit too thick, and so I wish I would have had a thinner one, but this still worked. And I just traced right over those letters that I transferred onto my sign. And after the paint had dried, I did go over it a second time to make the letters a little bit more bold. I decided I wanted to add a little accent to the top peak of my little house. So I just drew a heart with a couple little vines on a piece of paper. And when I decided I liked how that looked, I went through the same process. I put the chalk on the back, and then I traced it onto the top of my sign. And then I went over it with the paint marker as well. And while this paint is drying, let's go check on Yeedi. So it's now in my family room. As you can see, Cece is very interested in this. And one thing I really like about it is it goes back and forth in a systematic way. It is not just random all over the place. And I really like how it just goes back and forth and makes the carpet look so nice. All right, so we're going to let Yeedi continue its job, and we're going to finish our project. So the frame on this is kind of a natural wood looking. I wanted to make it a little bit more white, but I didn't want to just paint it white. So I'm going to take some white chalk paint and a dry chippy brush, and I'm just going to dry brush over this and lighten up that frame a little bit. And I did add some dry brushing to the inside of the frame as well, just to make it all cohesive. So I chose this more neutral ribbon because I'm making this project for a gift for a coworker who is leaving so that she can spend more time focusing on their foster kids. And that's why I chose this saying for this sign. And so I'm not sure of what her uh, decor palette or style is in her home, and so I wanted this to be able to go with her decor. So I just chose this kind of neutral colored ribbon, and I'm creating a bow and then tying it off with a little bit of floral wire, and then I'm going to add the greenery and this bow to the bottom corner of the sign. To finish off my project, I'm going to add that little laser cut butterfly to the top right corner of my sign. And I thought about painting it, but I kind of liked just this natural look that it had. So I'm not going to do anything to it except glue it on. I really like how this turned out, and my thought for it was that whenever a new foster child comes into their home, they could write their name on it just to help them feel more welcome. Okay, let's check back in with Yeedi. My living room floor is looking very nice, and it has been running for about 135 minutes. The battery is supposed to last about 200 minutes, so I think that's really great. And it did my house in about 135 minutes. And now it is headed back to the docking station, and it's going to empty itself into the canister so that I don't have to. So this is the canister where the bag is that collects the dirt, and that just needs to be changed about every 30 days. So once the yeedi went through its complete cycle and went all through the house, it actually made this map of my house. And then I am able to go in and I can label each of the rooms and give them a name. I can also set up some boundaries of areas that I don't want the yeedi to go in. So if there's like a piece of furniture maybe that it gets stuck under, or just an area that you don't want it to go, you can actually set up a, a boundary, kind of like a no-go zone, and it will not go there. So that's a really cool feature. And so I can also set up a custom clean if I want it just to go in and vacuum the living room or the master bedroom, or if I want it to mop the dining room and the kitchen. Yes, I said mop. This machine will actually mop as well, and that's what we're going to do next. So obviously, since we have cats, one of the things that we have on our floor a lot, especially in our utility room, is cat litter. So I decided to put some cat litter down on the floor to see how well Yeedi would pick it up. And so this is actually quite a bit of cat litter, and I was very impressed that it picked up pretty much all of it. This mopping feature is great because it picks up the dirt and then it mops as well. And I love that they have made this so that it detects carpet and it will not go on the carpet when the mopping pad is in place. And so that's true of throw rugs as well as carpet edging. Well, now that I have Yeedy mopping my floors, let's go do another DIY. For this project, I will be using this plastic garden dish and this glass vase, both from Dollar Tree. I'll also be using some white spray paint. This is one that bonds to plastic, which is what I wanted, and some matte sealer. I'm also going to be filling the vase with some of these glass beads, and I'm using these just because I have a ton of them left over from a party that we had and we used them in centerpieces. But you could use rocks from outside if you want, because they're not going to show, because we're going to paint the vase. But this is just to put some weight in the vase to make this more sturdy. We're going to actually make a pedestal tray to use for a centerpiece. To glue these together, I'm going to use some E6000 around the top rim of that vase because I need something with a very sturdy hold, and hot glue is just not going to work. Now I am going to add a little bit of hot glue around in a couple of places to attach the tray just so it holds it in place while that E6000 is drying. I waited about an hour for that E6000 to get kind of set up a little bit, and then I am going to spray paint this with just a coat of this spray paint that bonds to plastic, and I'm not going to leave this white color. If you want to, uh, then you'll want to give this several coats of paint in order to get good coverage, but I'm actually just kind of using this as a primer or a base coat because I'm going to paint mine with some chalk paint. And I've found that the chalk paint doesn't adhere to the plastic and the glass as well unless I put a layer of the spray paint underneath it. So once my spray paint is dry, I am going to give this a couple of good coats of this off-white chalk paint. This is the color Chiffon Cream by Rust-Oleum, and I picked this up at Walmart. Then to give this a little bit of dimension, I'm going to take this Antique Wax by Waverly and a dry brush, and then just dry brush a little bit on this. I'm going pretty light on the dry brushing. I don't want it to be too noticeable, but I do want to give it a little bit of texture and dimension. And then once everything is dry, I'm going to spray it with the matte sealer. I think this is really fun for something different than your traditional tiered tray, and I really like this Easter and spring decor in it. It's just something a little bit different to use as a centerpiece. Well, now that this DIY is done, let's go back and see how the mopping is going. So I have to say I am loving how my floor is looking after it has been vacuumed and mopped. And the best thing is that I was crafting the whole time, so you can't beat that. So I actually only had Yeedi do my dining and kitchen area, and you can see here the dirt on the pad just from the short time that it was mopping in this area. So you can take the pad off, it just velcros on, you just take it off and rinse it out, and it's super easy. Overall, this unit far exceeded my expectations. It works so well. It is so quality and well built, and I am just really excited to have it help me keep my floors cleaner. I will put a link in the description box below so you can go check out this model and other models that they have available as well. If you enjoyed crafting and cleaning with me today, then be sure to hit that like button. It really helps other people to see my videos as well. Also, if you enjoy DIYs on a budget and Dollar Tree DIYs, then be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you can set your notifications so that YouTube will let you know every time I upload a new video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have a blessed day.